Bonjour, bienvenue à cette portion de BangBang TV. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes au Métropolis, dans la partie un peu plus sombre de l'établissement, qu'on appelle les catacombes. Nous sommes en dessous de la scène. Aujourd'hui, samedi 17 janvier, Cradle of Filth est en ville, dans ce froid sibérien. Et je suis justement avec Dani Filth, le chanteur de la formation.
Bonjour.
Good. So, Dani, welcome to Montreal. It's your first time in during the winter, I think.
Depends when your winter starts. We've been here when it's been cold a lot of times.
Yeah, but right now in January,
yeah, freezing.
It's pretty cold.
Yeah, I just walked up to Labyrinth, the shop.
Yeah,
that was an eye opener.
So you went to the Labyrinth, the giant store.
Yeah,
with all your T-shirts are over there. They're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You got a new album, Godspeed on the Devil's Thunder.
Yep.
And it's about Gilles de Rais.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Frenchman,
mm-hmm.
was a companion of Joan of Arc. The last time you did a concept album, it was about Elizabeth Bathory.
Yep, that's true.
And why picking a guy like Gilles de Rais?
Well, when we came to write the material, we had like five skeletal songs finished.
Yep.
And the time of year in which we were writing and the direction in which it was going, some of the atmospheres kind of reminded me a little of Cruelty of the Beast.
Yep.
And I was a little bit stumped as to what to write about, so I revisited some of my old lyric books and came across Gilles de Rais. And I obviously written a lot of notes about him, seeing as he shares a kind of aristocratic, serial killing, medieval nature with that of Elizabeth Bathory. And then I rang up the guy who's co-writing the Gospel of, or has co-written the Gospel of Filth with us, one Gavin Baddeley, and I knew that he'd tackled Gilles de Rais and did a lot of research on him in the past, and he pointed me in the direction of some cool books.
Yep. And
so basically from there, we thought, wow, this fits the sort of context of the dark fairy tale that our music kind of exists within, because obviously we're not considering just the murders, we're considering everything from the catalyst of Joan of Arc's death right through to his subsequent being forgiven by the church.
Yeah, and it seems like, concept album fits well, Cradle of Filth. The last one was Cruelty on the Beast, and right now Godspeed on the Devil's Thunder. Mm-hmm. So do you have any idea for another concept?
Well, we did some loose concept. We did Damnation in a Day, was like a loose concept around the base, the fall of Lucifer. And Midian, had a kind of loose, but that was more like satellites orbiting a main theme. But not really, no. We haven't even actually thought about the next record, because we've only just really started our sort of world touring. Right
now you're on tour, so you don't have the time to think about it.
Don't have the time to do effing anything.
So black was the magic in this tragical kingdom that the superstitious grew.
Since you're the one who's writing the lyrics, it's something really important for you. Are you the kind of guy you wake up in the morning, sip a little coffee, and you're sitting down and with an empty page and you write some stuff?
I always write stuff down whenever I can think of anything. Yeah, I always carry notebooks around with us.
Speaking about this album, Tony Todd, as known as a Candyman, was supposed to do some vocal parts.
He was, yeah, that's true. The ironic thing was, it's a funny story because we were quite interested in the idea because he has done some French parts and he's like a black American, and we thought, wow, this is quite different. He's got a very, very deep, resounding voice. And he actually went into the studio and did some of the work for it. Yeah. But unfortunately, his agent had failed to say what it was about. And so he got completely the wrong end of the stick. Yeah. And thought we were just like some kind of death metal band glorifying, child murder and sorcery, and without actually realising that it was in historical context. Yeah. So he kind of left the studio in a bit of a huff. And unfortunately, our long-time collaborator, Doug Bradley, Pinhead from the Hellraiser series, was able to step in at the 11th hour. We set up a little studio at my home. Yeah. And he undertook it.
Inside the booklet, there's a little girl. I think it's your daughter.
Yeah.
And how old is she?
She'll be 10, actually, while we're on tour.
And is she aware that her dad is not the typical like?
I think she's aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not the 9 to 5 suit and tie guy.
No.
Will you be like willing to go at the career day at school and hello kids, my name is Dani Filth and probably your parents hate me.
I've done it. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
In fact, they don't hate me. They're quite interested in it. You'll be surprised.
The artwork by David Ho.
Mm-hmm.
It's a guy who worked with the alternative band Cedar and Lucas Arts, and it's pretty interesting. The guy is totally awesome. Could you talk about the kind of the Red Riding Hood here?
Well, no, like I say, it has the dark fairy tale imagery. So
Yeah.
this relates to the maxim procalum custodum ovium lupum, which is a motto of Gilles de Rais, which is wolf.
Yeah.
The same wolf, a great protector of the sheep. It's like kind of sarcasm, and it's all the artwork is kind of done in a sort of medieval context.
Yeah.
We spent 2 months working really closely with the guy.
Like you gave him, a total freedom to do everything.
Yeah, with kind of guidelines as well. I mean, he worked alongside with the lyrics and whatever.
On this album, you're working with Andy Sneap,
Yep.
but you did some album with Rob, who's a guitar player for Anthrax.
That's right.
Why there's kind of switched with Andy Sneap?
Well, on the last record, Rob Caggiano produced it, and Andy Sneap mixed it.
Yeah.
And Rob rejoined Anthrax because they went through that period where they were trying to do a reunion.
With Joe Belladonna.
Exactly, which kind of sort of sucked. And so they reformed, and also we liked the fact that we were working with Andy, and he had his own studio, and whilst we were mixing phonography, we already had plans on how to record the next record.
Yeah.
So it was just like, it's one of those things where we thought, well, this is going to work.
Yeah.
And we were very quick in the studio because we had a lot of it mapped out. We knew that we were going to have a studio A and a studio B, and we knew what cabs we were going to use, we knew what drum kit or how it was going to be done.
Yeah.
So that was basically the reason.
Okay, good reason. I read an interview with you in Decibel magazine. You talked about the Gal version of Golgoroth.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been on tour with them. How it was the atmosphere?
It was great. It was
Yeah?
really, excellent. Really, really fun. Really nice guys. King is hilarious.
Yeah.
No. Really cool. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And you talked about the fact that you went to Labyrinth.
Yeah.
So after Iron Maiden, probably Cradle of Filth is the ultimate band in merchandising. So how important is merchandising for a band like your band?
Well, I think it's as important as every other facet of our art. It's as important as the lyrics, as the artwork. Music is obviously paramount importance. Stage presence, stage production. It's
Yeah.
just one thing, one string to a bow.
Yeah. And there was a little, a scandal about the Jesus is a Con shirt. Some students were kicked out of school. What can you say about that kind of, attitude?
Well, recently there was another incident in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Where somebody was arrested at a mall, and somebody was asking me the same question the other day, and I said, well, look, you know when to say things, you know when to do things. You're adult. I consider all of our fans as being highly intelligent.
Yeah.
If somebody's going to wear a Jesus is a cunt shirt at a mall in front of police officers, well, then they're really asking for trouble, aren't they?
Yeah.
You don't walk around a mall naked, for example, because you know you're going to possibly get into some kind of trouble.
Yeah, and my last question is about the fact that you're touring America right now. Is there a major difference between European crowd and American crowd? Because here we're like, hey, European must seem to be a little louder than us. What's going on with that?
I think it's pretty much the same, really. I think the loudest crowds really are the places where it's really hot.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's just because their sons are baked in by their heads are baked in by the sun or not. But no, we just came back from Mexico. They're pretty crazy. I think everywhere's pretty crazy. There's no difference really. Not in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, and any kind of strange gifts by crazy fans.
Somebody gave me the thigh bone of their grandma.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, obviously she's dead.
Yeah, of course.
It's actually sitting on in my office desk at home. This is all got calligraphy written all over it, so I thought it was quite cool.
So, Dani Filth, thank you.
Thank you.
And enjoy your trip here in the coldest place on earth,
Yeah,
Montreal and Quebec City.
Okay, cool. Thank you.